Oh, John Rooney, how did you end up in Mulrenny?
I ended up in Achill first. I went down with a band called Raglan and we were booked into playing the Wavecrest Ballroom, and well, basically the band went home and I stayed, to cut a long story short. And
How long ago was that?
oh, that was in 1984. We married in 1985 in the church in St Patrick's Church in Pulla, in Achill.
And what attracted you to Achill?
We were having a bit of a weekend break, if you like, and the band decided, well, we'll go down here and we'll have a look. We enjoyed it very much and we took a booking to go back again. And when I went back the second time after my long weekend away or whatever, I met Mary at one of the gigs. And she and we struck up a conversation and enjoyed the company, and she said, I'll come back tomorrow and I'll pick you up and we'll go down to Kem Bay. And I said, certainly, and I wasn't sure if she would turn up. I hate the sun and I hate the sand and I can't swim. So she duly turned up looking like an angel and pranced in and said, come on John, we're off to Kem. So back we went, and I pretended, I suppose, sufficiently for her to stick around with me, and the band went home and I stayed. That's basically what happened.
And did you like Ken?
I loved it.
I mean, it's
that kind of horseshoe bay thing. I'd never seen anything like it.
Had you seen it before?
I had seen it in one or two old John Hind postcards, whatever. And I remember this is 1984, but it was one of the most beautiful spots I think I've ever seen. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. But sure, I fell in love with Achill and Mayo as a whole. I don't think I've ever seen anything as pretty before or since.
You're a musician?
Well, I was. That's how I earned a crust for years and years. But the band, our original band called Raglan, split up, and I had no way really to make a living apart from I was just like, I'd go solo and I'd try my hand at it. I did that for about 25 years, I think.
In the locality around?
Yeah, around Achill, Castlebar, Westport, out as far as Roscommon, Donegal and Sligo on good occasions. It would depend.
On your own?
On my own,
okay.
Yes, yeah.
And what kind of stuff did you play?
I played American folk music, stuff from the likes of Tom Paxton, and I loved Donovan and all his stuff. Of course, I did all Christy Moore's famous tunes. And
who's your favourite singer?
My favourite singer, funny enough, was Leonard Cohen, but I couldn't cut that on my own with a guitar in Donegal, so I stuck very much to the American folk and the Irish ballads.
Mm. Yeah. Are you into acting?
Yes, I was. I was an actor for some years in Dublin, and I enjoyed it immensely. I enjoyed it thoroughly, but we were paid equity minimum and it was a very, very poor living, and you did more resting than acting, if you know what I mean. Resting was what we call it officially when we couldn't get an acting job. But
all theatre, yeah?
All theatre, yeah. And I did some musical theatre as well. I did some film work, but I still have a love for it. I mean, I didn't make a living at it. I came down west, and I still do a little bit of amateur drama, as they say, amdram. And I love it thoroughly, enjoy it very much.
You do a bit of teaching?
Yes, I do a little bit of teaching as well.
And what do you teach?
I'm a jack of all trades, a master of none. I teach publishing and web design, or web authoring, for Mayo VEC down in Achill, down in Cashel. And I enjoy it very much. We have a great group back there. The demographic now is much different to a regular VEC. Like our students would be aged 25 to 75 years of age. Some are early school leavers, but the way things have changed now in the last few years, most are not. We have 3 people with actual degrees, including an architect, and these are people who are retraining. God knows for what, because times are very, very tough out there.
Yeah. But it must have been a huge change Coming down here from Dublin, was it?
Um,
Because you were a young man then, weren't you?
yeah, it was. I was 20, what was I? I was 25 years of age then. Yeah, it was a big change, but
From a buzz to such quietness.
I don't know if you'd call it a buzz. I mean, I enjoyed Dublin. I enjoyed access to theatre and cinema and whatever. When I came down here in '84, there wasn't a lot happening really. But I soon got used to it because we had 4 children, and when we'd 5, our first little child died of cot death, unfortunately. But this was a wonderful place to raise children. They were safe. They ran around the fields all day. The schooling. My wife was a school teacher too, a school principal, retired now in the last 2 years, but the actual schooling was exceptional. We felt that, and the children were safe. The community had your back.
What school did they go to?
They went to Tonragee National School.
Okay.
Tonragee National School on the parish of Achill. And then they went to the girls, my 3 girls went to the Sacred Heart Secondary School in Westport. My son Sean went to Father Wilder's school, I forget the name.
Island
In Island is correct, yeah.
That's a long way from here.
And so it was a good distance. But I used to do a bit of teaching out there too. I would teach a little bit of Irish history and whatnot, and computer work in lieu of paying fees. St. Patrick's Academy. There you have it, St. Patrick's Academy. So that was it. So it was a great place to raise the children. They're all gone now.
You're a dub.
I'm a dub, born and reared in, I was born in number 32 Goldsmith Street off the North Circular Road there in Phibsborough, just opposite the Mater Hospital. Between the Mater Hospital and Mountjoy. Proved very handy in later life. Well, the hospital then, but thankfully not the prison. And I was born in my grandfather's bedrooms. It was a free house, as they called it then, where Countess Markovich and my nan would prepare food parcels and the like for prisoners coming back from Wales, from a camp called Frongoch in Wales. And they would put a few pounds together, and some food and some clothing, so they weren't going home to Cork or Mayo or wherever, you know, without a stitch or a shirt on their back. And it was my grandmother, actually, Mary Rooney, that instilled a great love of theatre in me. We used to walk hand in hand down to the gate, which was only, what would that have been, 1 kilometre away, 2 kilometres from Goldsmith Street. I think I saw every production that was ever staged there. Like, I was actually known there, and it just that love of live theatre, that never left. Thanks to Granny.
What role did you play, John, in the theatre?
Well, when I was younger, I played, you know, young leading male type roles. I did all John B. Keane's, and I did all the usual stage Irish stuff and whatnot. I played Alan Strang in Peter Shaffer's Equus. That was one of my favourite roles because it was quite a demanding role, and the part called for a psychotic young man at the end of the play to be wrapped around the feet of his psychiatrist, fully naked, and you know, just literally broken and shaking. It was a fantastic role. I enjoyed it very much. Paul Sawyer wrote a thing then called The Birdcage, Paul from Westport, and I played the lead in that, the part of Poole Beg, this guy who was an ex-junkie who had just been released from prison or whatever, and that was also a very demanding role. Lovely role, I really enjoyed it so much. But I've done everything from West Side Story to children's theatre and everything in between, really.